morning. Those red lanes are for bikes. It's almost 6:30, May 21, 2019, and I'm driving now to the northeast of our country. Hey Rap, how is Phoenix? Phoenix, Arizona, probably, yeah. It's pretty early still. It's what I said, 6:30, and oh, what's that noise? I just need to check that. Need to check my car. Just got new tires, and I said there's like an interesting noise, but they said, "Oh, don't worry, we checked everything. It's okay." So I'm driving right now to the northeast part in order to check, to go to visit a company. It's like a high-tech quality company, high-tech equipment. And they do all kinds of finishing, metal finishing of products. And they might be a good partner for us. So let's see. It was very difficult to get the meeting because they said, "Oh, it's so busy, and the high-tech sector is really doing very well at the moment." It seems to me that it's like almost overheated. And I'm driving right now here in near the German border. It's also one of the cities I also droned from. Oh well, maybe we can have a look at the river. Hey Bjorn, how's your budget? Long time no see. Hopefully you're doing well in this early morning. I'm just waiting here for the traffic lights, and I'm going to a village called Rijssen, Rijssen, Rijssen. And I have to be there. It didn't really matter, they told me, just before 8:30, and depending on the traffic conditions, let me check, I will be there at 7:30, and they will open up at 7, so I'm in good shape. So some companies like the high-tech sector, they open really like at 7 o'clock, which is very convenient for me. Because if you need to have a meeting at 8:30 or 9, and that's really like a specific time, and that's the time slot, 8:30, 9 o'clock, then it's almost impossible sometimes to get there on time, because the morning traffic can be so terrible. I think every country or city that is doing well economically has that same issue. I mean, otherwise there's something wrong maybe. Huh? Bjorn, I miss your scopes. Haven't seen them in a long time. Yeah, I always need to be very careful driving and scoping. Very careful, and I have now. Oh, I need to change my route actually, because right now there are some cities that don't allow any like diesel cars anymore, or only the like new high-end cars. So that means that I need to go to a different route, because if you go to, for example, my old route, you need to pay 95 euros per time that you cross that city. 95 euros. That's more than 100 bucks just to cross the city. This has to do with the fact that they want to have a diesel free, or like a green zone. So I can't go through the city. but that's not really a big issue. Here on the right hand side, but it's difficult to see, but there is the river, and actually we are now driving on the bike lane because they have some big maintenance going on this bridge. Probably this will take about 1 year in order to fix it. It doesn't look like they are working at the moment here, but I'm sure there are a lot of things going on here. I mean, I hope a lot of things are going on. Yeah, I think in general people like to watch other countries, and especially other streamers, because you can be in another country, you can be a streamer, but people like to see what is going on. How is the actual life of a certain citizen? And I think it's great in this way, using Periscope or YouTube Live or DLive or whatever platform you're using. You can show other people like a peek in their culture, a peek in their life. And that's also what I like to show other people. I mean, I also like to see people driving in Japan, for example, or in Colombia, or in China. I mean, I remember vividly the first Chinese Olympic Games. I forgot which year, but then for me, I saw the first time some live images from China. I thought, wow, that is cool. And I also think it's really amazing that you wake up, or what, for example, like the Americans like Dean, it's pretty late already. That you can just by tapping just a button or an app, you can be somewhere else, and you can even interact with those people that are there in that country. You can have conversations with them. Not real life with like Skype, because it's not really the way this platform has been set up, but it's great that you can have that interaction. And what I really like about this live streaming platforms is not only that you can peek into other people's lives, but also you can see and interact with them and build up a certain relationship with the audience. But also with other live streamers, and that's also what I thought is really interesting. That, for example, the Travel Japan scopes, that was just amazing. Is with a group of periscopers going to another country. For me, it was especially cool because I lived in Japan before. So Dean mentioned it's like 11:30. Yeah, so it's not too late. But I was already sleeping around 10:30 yesterday, and then my energy is like zero. It's over. Yeah, so drone scopes. Actually, I did a drone scope. I think 2 weeks ago. I thought about having a drone scope last Sunday, which is 2 days ago, but the weather conditions were too unpredictable, and there was a lot of gust winds and winds. So basically, I didn't take off. But I really like to fly. And next Saturday we have the Verge meetup, which is the cryptocurrency focusing on privacy, and that will be on Saturday. And Sunday I'm traveling to Asia, and before the time I have some other meetings planned, so in the evening. But if the weather, let me think about it. Yes, if the weather will be very good today. Oh, I forgot something to bring with me. Stupid. If the weather will be very good today, I think I can also fly the drone. Sorry. Oh. Is that my hay fever? I thought about just playing some sound. Yeah, I think what I also really like about Periscope is that you can tap into other people's live stream and build up a relation. And as you said, Björn, you can just go there and you just have a complete different experience if you watch that. I mean, if you're there with the locals, you will have a completely different experience. And usually I don't like to be the tourist. I like to be the guy who has like a local guide who can bring you to things that the tourists won't go, but the locals peoples are going. That's what I really love. That's also so great if you have, in our company we have partners. They help us in some specific countries, so they can also bring us to some cool places, restaurants, and really give the life experience. But on the other hand, if you go, for example, to Germany or to Belgium, you can just follow some cool people. You also can have the same idea. Yeah, I haven't been in the UK a long time. I even forgot. Ah, yes, I remember. But that this has been, I think, 5-6 years ago. And that's quite interesting because from, if you look to the map, one of the biggest cities, if you're looking from Amsterdam point of view, is London. It's very close by actually. But there is this this water in between London and Amsterdam. Another big city we have is Antwerp, Brussels, and then we have Köln. Okay, Björn, take care. Great day. And we have right now these so-called dynamic signage. So right now it says 120, and there we have 100. And you also have parts in our country you can drive 130, 100. Sometimes it's just like a mess. And if you don't watch closely to all those signs, I mean, you can just be too fast somewhere and then you can get a ticket. So you need to be you need to pay a lot of attention while driving about the current speed limit. And for some people it can be confusing because we have all kinds of different way of telling the driver what is the maximum speed. And because the highways usually you have one country and it says everywhere you can drive 120, only on some specific sections you need to drive like 100. But here in our country we have 130, 120, 100, and if our road works, of course it's different. But those the three standard ones, it's just you need to remember, and what I said, pay attention. Especially if you don't drive a road that often, it can be pretty annoying. Especially when you talk to people in your car, and you're like, oh, I'm doing well, but then you just completely forgot. I thought about listening right now to some music, but unfortunately, if I'm listening to some music, the YouTube algorithm will recognize the music and I will get a penalty. And I forgot to switch off YouTube. So almost there at the city of Arnhem. And that city, that's what I mentioned. If we go if we continue, I'm not sure how far we can continue, but if we continue this road, then we need to pay 95. I repeat, 95 euros. So we will take a different route. It's not that a big of a detour. I just feel just a little bit annoying that you need to drive more kilometers, which is, on my point of view, not necessarily better for the environment. But if they want us to drive like that, we have to. Ah, that was cool. Björn was visiting. It's cool. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the meeting this Saturday. I think it's going to be a lot of interesting topics, interesting people. And I really hope that the network connection, that's my only biggest concern, that the network connection will be good. I tested yesterday evening the possibility to do like a higher quality upload, but I haven't time to test it in a proper way. And if you do Streamlabs, that means that you have high quality uploads. You will consume a lot of data. And what I mentioned already before, that we have this so-called unlimited data contract. But if you look closely to the contract, it says 5 gigabytes per day maximum. And you might think, oh, that is really a lot. And actually, it's not bad. But if you're uploading like this, you're uploading about, I forgot. Actually, the number is gone. Usually it's about, I think, 800 kilobytes, like a megabyte per second. So if you're streaming like about 6 hours, yeah, it's not going to work. It's very gray. We have a very gray day. A little bit foggy as well. What I also like about driving here, I mean in Europe, we can, if we want, we can just drive right now to France or to Romania or to Spain. Of course there are borders. But you can just drive. People are really speeding, oh my god. Sometimes it's difficult to know what I said, what's the speed limit. And you cannot trust the people around you because they can drive like 20 kilometers an hour faster than the actual limit. And then you will think, oh, it doesn't matter. But these are the people, the local people who know where they are controlling. So sometimes they just brake and then, oh my god. But then there's like the like a speed camera. Yeah, so we need to stop here and then we will continue. And that is what you saw just like a moment ago. Another one, like bikes. Those people are taking the bike to their work, or they're finished working maybe, depending what kind of area they are in. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So when you speed, the problem is, of course, you will get a ticket. But because we have this European system, once I was in Germany, and then I thought, oh my God, I will get a big fine. And actually, I get a fine, but that was only like 20 euros. But interestingly, you will just get those tickets sent to your home address. And in Germany, they will provide you with a free picture. And basically, you can see who was driving the car. Oh my God, that's so cool. I mean, if you think about privacy laws, I'm not sure if they change that system. Because based on the picture, you can actually see. It's like you will see your car, and then there is this zoom in version of your car window in which you actually can see the person who's driving. But the tickets, I mean the speed tickets in Germany are not that bad. And here in Holland it's much worse. I think the minimum I forgot is like 60 euros, which is excluding 60 euros excluding what they call administration fee, which is like 11 euros or something. And I think administration fee of 11 euros, hey guys, you need to optimize your system. That is ridiculous. Yeah, so you always need to smile, as Dean mentioned. Be positive and just smile to the camera. And here we have one of a big roundabout. And this roundabout, some people don't know how to drive that one. Like me, for example, because for me, I just checking my my route, my navigation system, and I just see that because I don't drive this route so often, it would be better to be on the left-hand side instead of here, and that is always annoying. So what you need to do is go more to the left lane like I'm doing right now. But if you don't do that, you will annoy other people. Yeah, and there we go. I think it's this one we need to take, yeah. Somebody told me that in Austria they have one specific law saying that you are not allowed to drive with a car cam. And if you look to Google Maps, I forgot which countries have the same thing, but I remember that Austria doesn't have any Google Maps. I forgot this function that you can put the man or the female, I'm not sure, this person on the map so you can actually see where you are or where you want to be. And then you can just move like virtual in that environment. But if you go to Austria, that system is not available. And also, I think in South Korea, I forgot what's the reason for South Korea, but Austria has to do with the privacy. And that's also the reason why you are not allowed to drive with a car cam. And if they see you with a car cam, they will get a ticket. Oh my God, all those tickets and rules everywhere. But I think the highway system in this country, in the Netherlands, looks very good. I mean, it's clean, well maintained. And I remember the first time that I was in the US. I was visiting my sister in 1998, and then it was the first time for me to be in such a big city, Los Angeles. Wow, that was big. And then I forgot how many lanes, 6, 7, so much. But then I also could see that the road maintenance was not as good as I would expect. And also those cars. Oh wow, I remember. Everything was big in the US. Of course the food, but the cars so big. But right now you see this change also in the US. That people are driving more smaller cars, more environmental friendly cars. Yeah, on the other hand, if you drive to, or if you're driving in, oh wow, there's a lot of fog over there. If you drive in, like for example in Japan, I mean, you can see the cars are much more smaller, but you also need to fit a lot of more people per square centimeter, per square feet, per square inch, how you want to put it. Looks like the end of the world with all the fog here, huh? So we're now driving through one of the national parks. Let me think about what is the name of this park. I think officially it's called the park called Veluwe. 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 I remember my mother used to live around here, in not in this part, a little bit further down, and I forgot, but there was no light or something, or not every day there was light. It was really like a remote area. What about stream quality, video and audio? Hopefully it's doing well. I assume it's doing well, but I don't know, because we're driving here in this national park, and usually the 4G coverage in our country is pretty good. I'm not sure whether it's like 98% or something, but if you look to the map, it looks pretty good. Only at the border of our country, really close to the border, or the border area, it's not that well. So the maximum speed here is 100. Oh, thanks Dean. And as you can see, we have here on the right hand side we have the special lane. Usually it's only for for accidents, or if you lose a tire or an accident. But because of the morning traffic, they changed that specific lane. As you can see on the top right now, it's like a green arrow. So basically you can drive also over there. Usually you cannot cross the line, but here you can. Actually, there's another penalty in the country. And that penalty is also one of the annoying ones, that you need to drive always on the right hand side. If you drive too long, just what I was doing on the middle road or more to the left, they can just give you a penalty, because they want you to drive on the most right lane. Only when you're go faster, or you want to take over a car, you can go to the left. That's one of the official rules. But that can be very annoying for people, because if you're driving like me, like this, 100 kilometers an hour, which is the maximum, this is the speed limit. And there are also here some cameras. If you drive like me like this, you don't go to the right all the time. It's very convenient, like in the US. Just stay in your lane. I think that is really much more safe. Yeah, they're so picky about all those rules, man. I think that one of the biggest or the highest penalties you can get here is you stick too much to the car in front of you. Car sticking. I'm not sure what is the English word for that. I also forgot the penalty. It's like 195 euros or something. But it's pretty difficult to define, actually. But that is extremely dangerous. Especially the people who drive certain brands of cars tend to stick to your behind more, and that is so annoying. Especially if you just want to stick to the speed limits. They don't want to get a ticket. Or tailgating. Yes, that's the right word. Tailgating. Yeah, that's a big penalty. Thank you, Rap. Somebody told me a long time ago, he said, if you're in the ISS, in the International Space Station, if you watch to the countries, if it's dark, it's difficult to see which country is what. But you can see the Netherlands, and actually Belgium, because those two countries, they have lights on the highway system. So their highways are lit up, and actually it's extremely convenient and safe to drive here, because the highways are, as you can see here, there are a lot of lights. But imagine how much energy that will consume. So I think they have changed the lighting system, as well as the probably have a timer on it, because at 4 a.m. probably there are not so many people who drive here. But imagine how much energy it will consume and how much money it will cost in order to have that system. But on the other hand, how much safety do you add to the system? I have no idea. We used to have Philips Lightning in our country. Maybe it was a good way for them to show and develop their light systems. I'm not sure. I'm just making it up. And this is very cool. This is like a bridge, but this is a bridge only for animals. It's like this green tunnel bridge, whatever combination. Because we are driving here to this national park, and of course the people, if you're like whatever animal you are, you want to cross the road, you can't. So you have to go to those special bridges. I'm not sure what kind of animals are here. We don't have any bears, or probably there are the deers. The rabbits. Oh yes. Oh man. I had a very light breakfast. Usually in the Netherlands I have a very light breakfast. Usually I have some cereals, no sugar cereals, and add some nuts to it. But actually I prefer to have like a big breakfast. Actually I could fancy a big barbecue at the moment. I like to have a big breakfast with fish, with meat, with eggs, with all kinds of vegetables. I like it a lot. But it's a lot of work to prepare, and nobody is preparing that for me because we don't have that kind of breakfast culture. We don't have those breakfast shops. You can go to your local grocery store. Maybe they can sell some bread. But at 6:30, I think even I think even the breakfast, no, not the breakfast shop, the grocery stores are still closed. Even the small ones, even the ones at the train station. I think the only thing what is open is like a gas station. Think about it. But the gas station food, I'm sorry guys, but that's not my cup of tea. But some, I have to say, some of them really have improved a lot, especially the big ones at the near the highway. And for me, it's always a disaster if I go travel in Germany, and those gas stations sometimes they're very, I would say, okay-ish. Sometimes they are so terrible. It reminds me of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I've never been in that time, but it just reminds me of that. Yeah, fruit would be also good for me as a breakfast, like a banana and orange, like Dean. But I think banana is good actually. But for me, it's too sweet. I prefer more to have a salty breakfast and to finish that up. To finish off with some sweets or with some yogurt, with some bananas in it. I was watching yesterday the stream from Periscope from John Ho, but after 20 minutes, 25, something like that, I was just so tired. I had to switch it off. But I'm looking forward to listen and watch it. I haven't seen John Ho in about 2 weeks. What he said. But he's doing good. Yeah, Dean, if you travel and if you're in those restaurants, in those hotels, and they offer this big breakfast, I also really love it. I can be there for 1.5 hours and just eat, and then afterwards I feel like I need to have a 19 minutes nap. Yeah. I remember I was in this super high-end hotel. It's one of those big brands. I forgot. Let me think about it. But that was so amazing. That was the best breakfast in a hotel ever. I've never seen such a big variety, humongous variety of all kinds of styles of food. La Grilla, something like this, in Taipei, in Taiwan. And you could, of course, you have your standard thing, your Western toast and whatever, but smoothies, you just could order a smoothie of all kinds of fruits. They could prepare all kinds of dishes for you. They had sushi, they had sashimi, they had steam buns, rice, all kinds of cooked rice, and all kinds of fresh fish. Oh my God, that was so amazing. But I also remember it was so expensive. But at that time I thought, oh, it doesn't matter. We got a discount because I think the owner, I remember the owner of that hotel over there is from a Dutch family. So I think that's the reason why I got this like a big discount. Usually it's like $300 US or something to be there a night, or 250, like really a lot. Yeah, also all kinds of sweets. I remember I didn't spot the stroopwafels. Actually, Dean, I saw also in the US right now there's one guy who's selling them in the US, and I even remember you can buy them at Whole Foods at the moment. But I don't know, I haven't checked that in the US actually, if they are from the made of real sugar, because a lot of them also in our country they are made of not butter, not like real butter, but they're made of like vegetable oil, soybean oil, and they don't have the real sugar. They have glucose fructose syrup. So I prefer to have the real one. So I'm not sure what kind of brand he is, what kind of formulation he is exporting. I'm happy to send some of them to the US. I look forward actually to be to the US again, and what I want to do next time in the US is rent a motorcycle and visit my sister, and then to drive around the San Diego area. Oh my God, love that idea. But I'm not sure how easy it is actually to drive and to rent a motorcycle. Probably it's not that bad. Renting a car is actually very cheap. As I remember in the US, I think between 30 and 60 bucks a day. Of course, depending on the car size and all kinds of things. And what I really love about Los Angeles, like LAX, but also other airports have it, actually probably every airport in the US, that once you get off the plane, you can just walk to Hertz. Actually, for Hertz in the LA, you need to take the shuttle. And you will just go to Hertz and they will say, "Welcome Casper, your car is parked at parking lot number 4. And you just go there, the key is already in it, you just get into the car and just move. And that's what I really love about the US mentality, is this convenience of this customer experience. Oh wow, that is something what the European and also the Asian people could learn from the US. That the customer experience is, or can be, amazing. And I also remember that Hertz is doing a good job, but also the other just basically copy that system, because every person that has tried that convenience would never ever want to have that system that you go to this desk, you need to wait for the 3-4 people in front of you. Oh my God, there's just so much wasted time. And that's what John Hall mentioned, and that's what I remember. That was two things I remember from that scope. As one thing is, the older you get, you value time more and more. So you need to think about how are you going to spend your time with friends, with people, with activities, with job. And that is one thing I learned. And of course I know this, but he emphasized this yesterday, and I really felt like, yeah, John, that's it. And the other thing I remember is this whole rant this rant against this lady from China, maybe. I think she's from China, but living in Thailand. I can imagine how annoying that is if you try to set up a meeting with somebody and she says yes, I love it, and then you think, oh, maybe I should hint her or tell her, hey, you need to double check this and this and this. It's just like it's just helping somebody, huh? And then you're like, yes, and then at the end of the day, it's not going to work. Oh my God, I think John was like almost exploding. But maybe if she, I think she was 18 years old, maybe when she's older, she will get it. But I don't agree that the millennials, they all say, they all can't say no. Not that he was really telling that, but I think in general, yeah, of course the millennials. I'm also like a millennial. Depends what kind of the what kind of the definition you have. Some people says everybody that was born between the 80s and zeros. So that 20 year. So as you can see here, there's nothing going on. Just farms, farms, farms. Yes, I think especially when you're dealing with a different generation, different kind of culture, you need to think about. I mean, who are you? What are your values? How do you behave? And that's what I see. There is already a big cultural gap, not only between the ages. But also between the different countries, of course, and the different way of. What I also see a big difference, whether you are, of course, poor or rich. But in our country, we don't have that so much. But whether you are educated, highly educated, or you completely non-educated, there's also a difference how you think of the world, your strategy in your life. I don't want to say one is better than the other one. It's just different. And I as a person, I mean, I was growing up in a very small village, and I love to see the different kinds of people with all kinds of different backgrounds. And I really, honestly, really, I don't want to use the word hate, but I really dislike people who are so arrogant. For example, I remember that somebody was cleaning my office, and in my office there was one person who said, "Hey, you also need to do like this because you're the cleaning lady." And I was so, I was exploding because I felt you should treat those people with respect. It doesn't matter whether you have a fucking PhD degree. Treat people with respect, you numbnuts. Oh my God, I was so angry. I feel you should treat people with respect. That's number one. Yes, and that person, I remember he was doing that, and then I said, okay, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Why are you behaving like this? Yeah, but she's like a cleaning lady. She should just listen to me. I said, yeah, but you can also do it in a respectful way. That is the way I was raised, that you need to treat people with respect, no matter where they are from. Because you don't know their story of their life. You don't know what they have been going through. And that's also what I sometimes see in Asia, that they dealing, sometimes what I've seen both in China, in Japan it's more difficult to see, but there is a big, there is a gap, the way, or the difference between, you feel the difference the way they treat foreign people and their local. I get it, I understand. I get it. I used to work also on a farm. I was collecting strawberries. I also worked in asparagus farm. I was collecting asparagus, which is a very, very tough job actually. And those asparagus are actually inside the ground, so you need to collect them. And that's really, they're in the sand, so you need to remove the sand, you need to collect the asparagus and then put the sand back in. And also worked in I forgot those flowers. They're called, in Latin it's called Calluna vulgaris. So I was taking care of those plants all year round. Yeah, I mean, you will learn so much when you're like 11, 12 years old doing that kind of job, and you understand the value of money. You understand, you respect your boss, you respect your co-workers. It's great to experience that you can work in a team. Of course, if you play soccer or whatever sports, you can also feel the energy, the positive energy, the positive vibe when you're playing in a team. You can also feel the frustration if people don't. I mean, people sometimes are just lazy or don't want to run or don't want to go for it in a team, whether it's soccer or whether it's in a company. Then you need to deal with that. I like that dynamics of people working together. That's also what I like, motivating people, and especially whether it's in a farm or a company, or doesn't matter where you are, you always need people. Not always, but many times you need people to motivate them to do things. I'm like a kind of guy who's intrinsically motivated to do a lot of things. That inspires me to motivate also others. So we're now driving east, but then you can tell me, hey, but Casper, you already were near the German border. How can you go further east? But right now we are more north of our country, and that means that there is more east grounds, more East Dutch grounds. So basically we can go to the east more and more. I thought about meeting a friend of mine. Or actually there's a big traffic jam here on the left hand side. I just saw there was a big truck. There was an accident. But lucky me, I mean, there was almost no traffic. And I will arrive in about 18 minutes. And I was expecting some heavy traffic. But I'm happy that I took this early drive. But imagine you're stuck for about half an hour. Oh my god, it's so annoying. So yeah, so now the speed limit is raised to 130 kilometers an hour, which is about 70 miles an hour. No, 80, 75, something like this. I have a cruise control, so I don't have to think about the speed limit. La, 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 la. There's a really a big traffic jam actually, huh? I'm interested to know how long that is. Because I have two options for today. One option is to drive back to my office to work over there and then to have the other meeting later today at the same company, or I will stay at that environment. But if you look to this traffic, I don't think about going back. It feels like it's, I think already like 10 kilometers or something. It's terrible. I was listening yesterday to John Sabot, Far East Travels podcast. I really like his way of podcasting because he has this podcast setup. He brings it with him to like a local restaurant, and he is based right now in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh City, in Saigon, and he just sits there drinking a cup of coffee, start up his podcasting, and just of course he has a certain agenda, things he wants to discuss, but his voice is so relaxing. It's so wow. Some people really have this kind of broadcasting voice, this low kind of, I don't know how to describe that. It just makes me feel listening to that kind of podcast more and more and more. And yesterday, or most of the time, he tells about traveling in the Southeast Asia, and he has all kinds of topics. I had here on the left hand side. This is the start. Yeah, this is the start of the traffic jam. I think they're diverting now the people to go to to the other road. But this John Sabot podcast, it's so amazing because the way he talks, it's just so engaging. He was talking about the dream he had once he was traveling in Asia, and he just said, okay, what should I do? Should I just give up my whole life and just move? And as he told us, it's not like in a split second you will make this decision and you will just go. It's like a process. And I think it's amazing to see that people just do it. I really admire that. And then live over there, build up your life. So if you're interested, just follow John Sabot, John like John, and Sabot called like S-A-B-O-E, Sabot. And you can follow his podcast in the iTunes store by searching for Far East Travels, or Travels, I forgot, or just typing in John Sabot. And he had different kind of podcasts. He has the ones that he's just, what I mentioned, sitting down there, drinking a cup of coffee, have a chat. He also, that's also really cool, invites other people in his podcast. So we had MJ Klein from Taiwan. We had Dave Greco from Osaka, Japan. And there were also some other people were there. I forgot their names. And these are the people who can have great stories to tell about the culture in their city. And then you have the podcast that he's traveling and he's telling about the activities he's doing, walking around there. And if you're listening, especially I have those earbuds. Actually, oh my God, I forgot them. To bring them with me. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, so but if you have the earbuds, high quality stereo sound, then you can also listen to him. And then you feel really like immersed in his podcast. So I really like the way he sets it up. He has different different kind of dishes, so to say. He can serve with this podcast. The only thing which I think it's annoying for me as a listener, but that's something what you also need to respect, is that because I like it so much, I want to have like a schedule, like every Monday and Wednesday, for example, or it doesn't matter what kind of date. I want to have a dish. I want to have the podcast. But he pops the podcast sometimes in 1 week like 2 or 3 or 4, which is like amazing. And sometimes like 1 week there's nothing, so I feel like almost empty. Yeah, but I understand, and I also like it the way he does it right now, because right now you can you have sometimes a very good week, and sometimes it's it's just a random week. It's more like a surprise. And I think for him it's much better because it keeps up the flexibility, and it's yeah. Unfortunately, I can't always join, or it's difficult to join his scopes, because usually the time, because of the time difference, it doesn't match with my calendar, with my schedule. So some people say that our country is full with people. It's too full, but if you look, so here, just farms, forest, farms, farm. I want to check. I already mentioned this before. I want to check what's the percentage of our country that is filled with farmland. I think you will be amazed to see it. So iVideo, maybe you know that company that provides me the. Oh, be careful here. Provides me the Wi-Fi box when I'm in China, and I'm not 100% sure how good the quality of the internet will be when I will be in China. I will be in Beijing for a couple of days. But if the quality will be good enough, maybe I should try to start a stream. Because not that many people have seen China Live. I already mentioned that before. I think I need to double check my. Yes, we have to. Rijssen, that's the name of the village I have to go. I thought about going with my motorcycle today, but I changed my plan, because if you go with my motorcycle, I actually need to bring some equipment with me, and it is just too dangerous with on the motorcycle, and it's also annoying for me because I also need to bring all kinds of things to work with for today, like laptops and power banks and all kind of things. So now it's 7:30. I remember their company told me I can be there anytime after 7, so good timing. Oh, I could of course also bring my gimbal with me, so I could just walk around here a little bit. Every time when I'm in my country and think about how our country looks like, I feel like green. So much green everywhere. Also when you're flying the drone, I think even in the cities, our cities are also pretty green, like dark green. I'm just a little bit tired. I think I'm not used to waking up so early. I think yes, around 5:30 I thought, oh, let's wake up. So I also couldn't sleep anymore. And also in this part of our country we have the it's called like super, or I think super farms. They're like very big farmers, but I think if you compare to the US, they're still really tiny. I mean the amount of property they own, it's just so small compared to the US. It's always cool to see people from like farmers that immigrated to like the US or to Canada or to Australia, that they talk about the size of their land and they're like, oh my god, yeah, wow, we have so much land. We can do whatever kind of crops, this kind of kilo, the yield is like whatever. And it's such a big difference in our country because we have to be so much more efficient with these square meter. And I think that's also one of the biggest reasons why our agriculture status and innovation is like top notch. And of course our country is as flat as a pancake, so it's much more easy to develop grounds for farm. Need to check, but I think also the agriculture is also the biggest industry. We have those called 10 sectors, which are very important for us, which is like also chemistry is one, logistics, water management. I think this is boring. Just need to wait. I'm almost there. Just want to thank you all for being here with me, whether it's 1 minute, 1 second, or the whole trip. I enjoyed it, and I look forward to catch you and to see you on the next scope. And I hope you have a great day, evening, sleep, whatever you are, and hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye bye.